And welcome here to TalkFCB, and welcome back to the channel here today, guys, where quite honestly I was wondering, should I make a video, should I even bother with it today? But you know what? It's important to talk about your problems. In any walk of life, you will usually feel better if you speak openly about what's going on, and that is what we have to do with Barca right now. Because yes, it was a very disappointing weekend. It was a really poor performance again yesterday. That means now 3 La Liga games in a row without a victory. But that's what we're going to do today. We are going to talk about what is happening, and we're going through the entire team. Who is playing well? Who is not playing well? Where are the biggest weaknesses right now? And what has gone wrong with Hansi Flick's Barca, from Iñaki Peña to Robert Lewandowski, and everything in between? We're discussing everything. So get ready, and let's get into this now. Let's talk. Because today's video, guys, is actually coming to you courtesy of Manscaped. Well, let me just say, if you want more efficiency than Barca showed in front of goal yesterday, I'd highly recommend the chairman. That will actually get the job done for you. That is something you could actually put your trust in, and it won't let you down. Because unlike Barca as well, it won't hurt you, because all of Manscaped's products come complete with skin-safe technology. So it's nice to know you're not going to get hurt. You are not going to get torn to pieces by something like we were emotionally during yesterday's game. And you can get 25%, guys, off all Manscaped products right now on their website, courtesy of the Black Friday sale. So please check that out. Please enjoy yourself. Get your Christmas shopping done early. And I thank you indeed for that great support. Because first of all, guys, what we simply must do is talk about Hansi Flick's reaction, not only to yesterday's performance, yesterday's result, but in general right now, what is the feeling like within the dressing room, within the camp at Barca? How is everything just sort of unravelled in the way that it has done? And I thought Flick actually gave some really interesting insights into what is going wrong right now. He said when we control games and when we're able to play well, we then generate more chances. But he said when we don't, this is our problem. Because before it was much easier. We generated lots of chances. We scored more goals. But now, it is not like that at all there. So Flick pointing to the fact here that we've stopped creating. We have stopped putting attacking pressure on our opponent. We're not scoring with the same freedom that we once were. And as a result, that's putting a whole different pressure on Barca as a whole. Because he said today, for instance, we didn't score those goals, and we have to change it. Because, yeah, we've got to defend better, but if you don't score a goal, it then becomes more difficult to keep a clean sheet. It is not just a defensive thing, it's a whole team thing there. And I think that's a really interesting point of view, because certainly earlier on in the season, yeah, Barca conceded goals. You know, a goal here, a goal there, maybe 2 in one game. And sometimes, of course, we conceded the first goal in games. But the difference was, we backed ourselves to come back. We knew that, okay, if we concede a goal, it's fine. We're going to reply with 3, with 4, with 5 of our own. And there was that internal confidence that no matter what we come up against, no matter what kind of situation we're dealt with here, we will overcome it by scoring more and more and more. And that has disappeared. Over the past few weeks here, over the past few games, we are not seeing that same ruthless attitude in front of goal. We are not seeing that same cutting-edge Barca in the final third. And of course, I'm sure it coincides a lot with the absence of Lamine Yamal. But let's delve deeper. Because I also think, guys, it's very important here to listen to Raphinha, of all people. Because let's not forget, in yesterday's game, not only did he score a world-class goal, I mean, that goal was absolutely perfect. And it's almost a tragedy in itself that that goal, in the end, meant nothing. Because it deserves so much more. And Raphinha put in a performance himself that he can be proud of. But what about his teammates? Because after the game, he said, I'm angry, and I don't even care about my goal. He said, we have been doing poorly. We are lowering the level of what we were doing. We have to keep working. There are many things that we're doing wrong, and we've got to turn things around on Tuesday there. And I think that's a very, very important quote for a player who's actually playing well. Somebody who is doing their job to come out and say, look, this is not acceptable. We are not doing anywhere near what we were. And I think Raphinha here, he has every right to be angry, because right the way through the season, don't forget, not only with the captain's armband, but in the way that he plays, he leads the team. He has been the one starting the press, really energising the team, and everybody was following his example. But you look around right now, who's following Raphinha? Who is actually doing what he is doing, committing to the cause in the way that he is? it feels like he's on his own now. In yesterday's game, it feels as though he's the one really going above and beyond, and his teammates have departed. They are not there with him anymore, and what is the cause of that? Because straight off the bat here, guys, we have to sort of mention the fixture schedule. You have to mention here the sheer number of games that every single week we've got to somehow find our way through. And it's no denying at all that these fixtures, the way the schedule is these days, it is incredibly demanding. And you pair that as well with the style of play. It's a very demanding philosophy that Hansi Flick has, the way that he wants to play football. It requires maximum intensity, maximum physical attention there, and that can be tricky. That can be certainly difficult to do over a long, long season that we have here. And look, every club that's involved in European football, they're all facing the same issues. Now, squad depth, though, is something that can help you out. That is your friend in this situation. Now, it's already something that, by the way, Man City, for example, they're really struggling with too. They have a few key injuries in their team, and they are suddenly realising they don't have a good squad. They do not have quality depth there to get them out of these situations, and that's a club there with an unlimited transfer budget. So even they are really, really struggling. So where are the problems with Barca? What is actually happening in our team right now? If you look first of all at the goalkeeping side of things. Now, after yesterday's game, a lot of people were very unhappy with Iñaki Peña. They said, okay, it's time for Szczesny. Iñaki Peña, not playing well, didn't do enough yesterday. We've got to change out the goalkeeper. Now, I would say in Peña's defence, were any of the goals really his fault? You know, could he have done a great deal more? Both of the goals, in my opinion, for Las Palmas were very, very good finishes. But that still doesn't change my mind here that at some point we should see Szczesny. You know, at the end of the day, we brought him in, a very, very experienced goalkeeper. At his best, we know what Szczesny can do. He can be definitely a more commanding figure than Iñaki Peña, so I would like to see him get an opportunity. At some point in the near future, I think we should give him a try. I don't think there will be any problem at all in doing that there, but I still maintain Peña yesterday probably did just about as much as he could do. The goals were very, very good finishes, but then we talk about the defensive line. Then we talk especially about the full-back areas. That has been a massive concern of mine all season long, because outside of the starting players there at full-back, already you're starting to see Balde picking up more and more injuries, minor injuries that they are, but he's missed several games. And when he's not there, you really do notice it. And then you've got Koundé over the other side. Now, what has happened to him? What on earth has happened to Jules Koundé? At the start of the season, he was unplayable. He was absolutely unreal there. The best that he's ever performed in a Barca shirt, and him and Flick were working perfectly together. His form and his focus, they have fallen off a cliff. Koundé has been terrible now for several games in a row. And is that down to the amount of matches that he's had to play there? Of course, at right back, we don't want to rotate him. We don't really want to switch things around, so he's played a lot of games. Has he been lacking a natural winger ahead of him? Of course, no Lamine Yamal. That certainly had an effect on Koundé's game as well. But clearly here, these are things that are not going well. But yet again, there's not an immediate replacement for him. It's not as though yesterday, when we brought on Hector Fort in his place, did we get better? No, we absolutely didn't. Even though these players may not be at their best right now, they may not be playing at the kind of level we need them to, the problem is you're lacking quality depth. There's not an obvious player to come in and improve the team. And that is why when you look at yesterday's game, guys, the players that came off the bench, in my opinion, every sub that we made, we got worse. The team got more disjointed as that game went on, because the players who are coming on, they are definitely not better. You know, we are not making an improvement on the team with subs, and players there in our squad are just not able to elevate our level. That's a massive, massive issue, because then, of course, you think about the two centre-backs that have played pretty much every minute that they possibly could. Pau Cubarsí, Inigo Martinez. Now, for the most of it, they've been outstanding. As a duo, individually, they have been absolutely fantastic this season. But at the end of the day, that amount of minutes, that amount of games, at some point, it's inevitable. It will take its toll. But that is one area that could actually improve over time here. We've got Araujo just about to come back. That will help us in terms of quality depth. You've got Andreas Christensen. Who even knows what is happening with him? But if he can come back in and play at some stage, that will also be welcomed by Flick. However, then you have the big issue as well about over-dependence on certain players there. Thinking about midfield, Marc Asado, for example, he sat out one game yesterday due to that suspension. Now, we really missed him. There is absolutely nobody in our squad, no player in our team that can do what he can. And when he is not there now, there is a massive defensive hole in our midfield that only he can properly fill. So already there, that's a massive burden on his shoulder. We need him available, we need him playing, and we can't really function in the same way without him. And it's exactly the same situation with Lamine Yamal. We saw yesterday the urgency to bring him on. You know, as soon as Barca went down, it was almost as though, when's Yamal coming on? When is Yamal going to save us here? A 17-year-old who's just come back from injury, and we expect him to save us. You know, that again is a real dependency on one specific player because he's that good, because the level is that high, but there is nobody else, not really the similar kind of player that can replicate anything close to what he can bring. And then there's different kinds of problems too, because I would look at Dani Olmo. Now, this is a player that when he plays, he is unbelievable. Now, there was lots of things said about Dani Olmo signing for Barca, and I think many of us held our hands up and said he came in and he looked the part. He completed us as a team. We were all wrong. He's an absolutely wonderful signing and a wonderful player because he is. But he still has a problem with injuries. Before he came, we did say he's an injury-prone player. He had a lot of injuries during his time in Germany. That has continued. At Barca right now, he has struggled to play 2 games in a row, in terms of starting 2 games in a row. Yesterday, of course, he was on the bench, didn't come on because he wasn't fit to play. I don't really know why he was even on the bench. He didn't train on Friday. Before that, a few games ago, he had a stomach bug, couldn't start in that game, and it just seems like with Olmo, he's struggling to put together that run of games. The injuries are creeping in, and we cannot have that. We need him. He is essential, because again, when he's not there, you miss him. You can't really replicate what he can bring, because outside of that, there's not the same quality, because then there's the wider issue as well. Looking at the attacking side of our team, outside of Yamal, outside of Raphinha, where on earth are the wingers? Barca do not have enough wingers in their squad, and that is a fact, guys, because you look at it yesterday, we're playing Fermin Lopez out wide again. Now, sometimes it might work, sometimes I'll be able to get away with that. He is not a winger. Pablo Torre, I thought he really tried yesterday. He did everything that he possibly could. He is also not a winger. And even Ferran coming on yesterday, it's not the impact that you want. It's not the kind of winger that you wanted a Barcelona Hansi Flick team either. And that's a real problem. There are glaring holes in this squad. You know, maybe not in the starting lineup, maybe not in the players if everybody is fit, but outside of that starting group, there's massive holes here, massive deficiencies in our squad that right now we're just not able to cope with. Because then you talk about Lewandowski, you know, our only outright real number 9 at the club. Yesterday, he was absolutely shocking in his performance. Now, all season long, Lewandowski, don't get me wrong, he scored a fantastic amount of goals. He has been one of our most important players. Of course he has, and I'm not doubting that. But yesterday, he was dreadful. Now, in that situation, ideally, if it's not his day, if he's not playing well, you want the ability to take him off. You want the option there to take him off and say, okay, wasn't your day, you'll be back, and bring him back in the next game. But he stays out there for the entire 90 minutes there. And then somebody like Pau Victor comes on, and you think that in only minutes that he was on the field, he should have won a penalty. It was a clear penalty on him, and he very nearly set up an equalising goal because he has pace to run in behind. And you're thinking, why haven't we seen this guy? You know, why is he only playing for a matter of minutes at the end of games? We saw in pre-season, he's got potential, he has ability, he has an eye for goal as well. Why are we not seeing him more often, given more chances in this team? Because we are struggling. We are really struggling in terms of depth, in terms of the amount of games we're having to play, in terms of the style and the demand it has on the squad. We lack quality to replace the outstanding players in that starting lineup, because when they are on form, we've seen it against Bayern, we've seen it against Real Madrid, this Hansi Flick Barca team, they are unplayable. They can beat anybody on their day, and I stand by that. We have so much ability, but in terms of a long league season, in terms of making our way and staying in contention for all competitions, you need a squad, and we need our squad to step up, to stand up, to try and bridge that gap between our bench and our starting 11. That's Flick's task right now. That is the challenge that he is faced with, and that is why also, don't forget, the upcoming January transfer window, That could be a big moment for this team. That could be a significant time in our season. Will there be an option to strengthen? Will there be players out there who you could just bring in, even for half a season, just to give us more quality depth, just to give us something, an injection from somewhere at fullback in the wide areas? Those are the areas crying out for it right now. But hey guys, please let me know in the comments down below, where do you see the fault? Where do you see the problems, the alarm bells ringing? Let me know all of that in the comments down below. I'll be waiting to hear from you. I'm really, really interested right now to see what people are feeling, what emotions are running through us right now, what thoughts are going through our minds. Let me know all that down below. I will see you soon, because we will continue to come here and we will continue to talk, because all of us, every single one of us, still firmly believe in this Barca team. I will catch all of you soon, and I thank you indeed for the great support. But until next time, as always, Visca El Barça.